2025 is coming, and for some of you it doesn't feel like hope. It feels like another mountain to climb, another year of dragging the weight of everything you've been through. Maybe 2024 wasn't kind to you. Maybe it took more than it gave. Maybe it left you with scars you're still learning to carry. Breakups, tragedies, losses, failures. Maybe this year chewed you up and spit you out, and now you're standing at the edge of a new year, wondering if you even have the strength to try again. But listen to me. 2025 doesn't have to be a continuation of your pain. It can be a transformation. It can be the year you stop letting what happened to you define what's ahead of you. It can be the year you turn every ounce of pain, every heartbreak, every loss into fuel. Here's the thing about hardship. It doesn't have to break you. It can build you. The worst years of your life? They can be the foundation for the best ones, but only if you're willing to make that choice. So how do you make 2025 the year you rise? How do you turn tragedy into triumph, heartbreak into growth, failure into momentum? Let's break it down.
First, you have to let go, not in the passive way people tell you to move on, but in the active way of choosing not to carry the weight of what you can't control. The past is heavy, and if you bring it into 2025, it will crush you. Yes, what happened to you was unfair. Yes, it hurt. Yes, you didn't deserve it. But holding on to the anger, the regret, the why me will keep you chained to it. And you can't build a new life while you're still holding on to the ruins of the old one. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean pretending it didn't happen. It means acknowledging it, learning from it, and then choosing to move forward.
Pain has a way of making you feel small. It convinces you that you're broken, that you're not enough, that you're defined by what happened to you. But you are not your tragedy. You are not your breakup. You are not your failure. You are the person who survived them. And now, you get to decide who you want to be. 2025 is the year you rewrite the story you've been telling yourself. Stop calling yourself a victim. Stop calling yourself broken. Start calling yourself becoming. Becoming stronger. Becoming wiser. Becoming someone who refuses to let the worst parts of their life define the best ones.
People love to talk about setting goals at the start of the year, but goals without meaning are just tasks. They're empty. If you want to make 2025 your best year, stop focusing on what you want to achieve and start focusing on why you want to achieve it. Instead of saying, I want to lose weight, say, I want to feel strong in my body because it's the only one I have. Instead of saying, I want to make more money, say, I want to create financial freedom so I can take care of myself and the people I love. Tie your goals to something deeper, something that matters, and you'll be far less likely to abandon them when things get tough.
2025 won't be your best year because of one big moment. It will be your best year because of the small, consistent choices you make every single day. It's not about overhauling your life overnight. It's about making the decision every morning to be 1% better than you were yesterday. You don't have to run a marathon in January. Start by walking a mile. You don't have to change your entire career in one leap. Start by learning a new skill. You don't have to rebuild every broken relationship. Start by being honest about how you feel. Small steps, taken consistently, lead to massive change.
The things that broke you in 2024, the heartbreak, the loss, the tragedy, those things have shaped you. They've given you a perspective, a strength, a depth that you didn't have before. And now you have a choice. You can let those things make you bitter, or you can let them make you better. Use your pain as a compass. Let it guide you toward what matters. If you lost someone, honor them by living fully. If you failed, use it as a lesson to come back stronger. If you had your heart broken, let it teach you what you deserve and don't deserve in the future. Pain is inevitable. but suffering is optional. Choose to grow from it.
Time is the most precious thing you have, and you don't get it back. 2024 might have stolen time from you, time spent grieving, hurting, recovering. But 2025 is a clean slate. This year, you take back control of your time. That means saying no to the things that waste it, the people who drain you, the habits that numb you, the distractions that steal your focus. And it means saying yes to the things that matter, the relationships that uplift you, the habits that energize you, the work that fulfills you. If you don't take control of your time, someone else will. Make 2025 the year you protect it fiercely.
Finally, and most importantly, believe. Believe that your best days aren't behind you. Believe that 2025 can be the year you rise, the year you heal, the year you build something extraordinary. Because here's the truth. You've already survived your worst days. You've already faced what you thought you couldn't handle. 2025 is your year, not because it will be easy, but because you will make it so. Not because it will be perfect, but because you will rise to meet it, no matter what it brings. So take a deep breath. Let go of the weight you've been carrying. And step into this new year with the quiet, unshakable belief that your best is yet to come. Because it is.
If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating. If you can dream and not make dreams your master. If you can think and not make thoughts your aim. If you can meet triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same. Or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss. And so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And, which is more, you'll be a man, my son.
Basically, two kinds of people in life. They're winners and they're losers. And the definition is this. Losers take things that happen to them and that they feel inside that suck, and they use it for self or outward destruction. Winners take whatever they feel it, it sucks, and they transmute it into things that are good for themselves and for the world. Period. End of story.
2025 is the year that we start fresh. It's the year that we make happen. And lastly, it's the year that we change everything.
No matter what.
The thing they don't tell you is the long way is the shortcut, because the shortcut never gets you there. And so people quit when things get hard because the thought of things being hard forever feels unbearable. But that's a lie, because nothing's hard forever. You either quit, it gets easier, or you get harder. But no matter what, the hard always ends. And the only way you lose is if you quit before seeing it through. And so what I try to tell myself when I'm in those kind of harder times is, this is for now, not forever.
Look, you have a project that's due at work that you don't feel like working on right now. Doesn't matter that you don't feel like working on it right now. You impose discipline on the situation and you do what you're supposed to do. You have a exercise, you need to work out this morning, you haven't worked out yet, you wake up in the morning, you need to go work out, you don't feel like working out, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you don't feel like working out, it doesn't matter. It's not part of the calculation. Discipline overrides that. Discipline trumps your feelings, and that is what you need to apply as a person, as a normal human being, no matter what you're doing in your life. You need to let discipline be your guide, not how you feel. That's what we need to do. And if you do that, you're gonna end up with freedom. You're gonna end up with freedom across the board. Discipline equals freedom. That's what I have been saying for a long time. It is 100% factually true. If you allow your feelings to dictate what you do, you will end up being a slave to your feelings at a minimum. But if you utilize discipline in your life, you will end up with the ultimate freedom in everything that you do. So that is why you, as a person out there doing your job, whatever that job may be, impose discipline in your life. It will set you free.
Don't get lost. Don't get lost and drift apart. Don't lose your sight. At the moment we are talking about, you want that spark to grow more. So that means you want something to grow, you need energy to get there. Energy is being directed by the intensity and the depths of your intention.
Listen, for now, put your head down and just work. Ignore the noise, ignore the distractions. Prove to yourself that you can really do it, and then go show the rest of the world that you did.
Life will test you, not once, but over and over again. The question isn't if the chaos will come, it's when. And when it does, you have a choice. Let it break you, or let it build you. You can sit in the storm and curse the rain, or you can rise and prove to yourself that no storm lasts forever. Strength isn't found in avoiding the chaos. It's forged in facing it head on. So get to work, rise above, and when the dust settles, you'll stand taller than ever before.
Well, I think there's no greater waste of time than defending your actions to people whose life you don't want. I think every day about how it would be such a shame to get to the end of my life and realize that I didn't achieve my goals because I listened to the opinions of people who are now dead.
We're so afraid of being vulnerable. We're terrified of being honest. We're so used to being judged and being held to a standard that society sets for us that we don't give ourselves permission to even ask these questions, let alone answer them.
Decide what you need to do and act.
The foundation of all strength is pain.
Embrace pain. Pain is something to embrace. If there's no resistance to you, you're not going to get anywhere in life.
The purpose of a goal is not getting it anyway. The purpose of a goal, who you become. Who you become is going to make you happy or it's going to make you sad.
Because some people think when you lose a dream or you lose something, that it's over. But you didn't lose who you are. You lost that thing, that placement. Life might not be adding up to what you wanted to add up to, but at least you have every single day is a new beginning. Every day is a new beginning. And certain days aren't gonna look like you want them to look. But at least you have another chance. Like 150,000 people die every day. It's 55 million people a year. If you're looking for a blessing, realize that's your blessing. You have another opportunity at life. The only way you're gonna get strength in your life is if you go through that hard moment, that tough moment. Realize this, just because it's a chapter, it doesn't mean it's your whole story.
Most people think the things that are temporary are the permanent things. The temporary passing, I'm going through a breakup. You don't understand that in a month you're gonna be okay. When you're in a low, when you're feeling bad, you think that thing you're feeling is how you're gonna feel forever, which is what makes it feel worse. All of your emotions are temporary. They're passing things. So most of our pain comes from believing, I believe, that we should keep holding on to these things that are really heavy in our lives.
We're constantly looking at life. What is it? What is it? Where are we? Look how interesting. Look at different cultures, different beliefs. How do they come to that? How do I feel about that? What do I think? It is a daily adventure. You have your voice. It's there. Just do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Create. Don't let anyone stop you.
When you can realize that your worst days were truly your best days. When you can realize that every human being goes through pain and injustice, some more than others, but everyone goes through it. Everyone's had someone be completely unjust to them. Everyone has had someone hurt them who they loved and cared for deeply, or they trusted, or they looked to for support or love. It's part of how we grow spiritually. There's no possibility to build muscle without something you have to lift. And if you don't lift it, it will crush you. And if you lift it, it will be painful. It's not easy to lift those things. But the day in which you finally find inside yourself the story and state that finally makes you no longer be willing to be pressed down by your past, that's the day your life not only changes, but you also now have the ability to give a gift to others. And the most beautiful day, though, is the day when you go, it wasn't for all that I hated most, I wouldn't have what I love most. Realizing that there was a meaning in all of it and that it served something greater than just little me.
I say to myself, I refuse to believe that if I'm a good person and that if I'm working hard, I refuse to believe that this doesn't work out. I know that this moment's gonna pass, and I know that I will look back on this moment and I'll see exactly what I was meant to learn. And the fact that you believe in your heart, that you got the mindset, you got the work ethic, you got the ability to figure this out and to keep going, and that eventually if you do, what's meant for you is gonna find you. You will be rewarded for all this in the way that you're meant to be rewarded. That's amazing. It's an amazing feeling because you can pick yourself up no matter what happens.
You should be scared. You should be anxious. You should be worried. You should be concerned. You know what that means? That means you actually give a fuck about what you're trying to do. Everybody tries to preach this no anxiety, no stress, low drag, happy all the time shit. Bro, when you really care about something, you really want something to work, you're gonna feel stress about it. You're gonna feel anxiety about it. You know what? It means that you can give a shit, all right? You should feel that way.
Isolation. You can be out in the world, You can be a history maker and a productive legend. You don't get to do both.
Fear. Fear is the thing that has kept most of us from becoming great. Fear is the thing that creeps in that reminds you of a past sin, a past problem, or past failure. Fear that somebody might expose you, might say anything, or feel that if I try this, what if it all goes wrong? Maybe it's time you bet on you. Maybe it's time you push everything to the center and say, here's everything I am and everything that I want to be, and I'm willing to bet on me.
I don't care where you come from. I don't care where you were raised. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what gender you are. I don't care about any of that shit. If you do the work consistently, if you invest in yourself consistently, 1 + 1 is always going to equal 2. 10 years of motherfucking work when everybody else is partying, making excuses, doing the cool thing on the weekend is going to pay off.
What really you need is hunger. The most successful people on earth never lose their hunger. The hunger to be more, to do more, to share more, to create more, to become more, to give more. And if you have a hunger and it doesn't die off as soon as you succeed a little bit, then you start to become something extraordinary. Those are the people that you know their names of because they're famous at a different level. They've been famous for decade after decade because they keep performing at the higher level, not the person who's a one-time wonder.
People have problems and they're often annoyed and oppressed by the fact they have problems, but you have your problems and the problems that bother you. And you might ask yourself, well, why do those problems bother you and not other problems? And I would say maybe it's because in those problems you actually find your destiny. And those are often things you don't want to look at, but it was something that bothered you. It turned out that was your problem. And if you faced it, well, then you figured out on that road that that was your destiny.
Bet on you. Bet on the lifeline that God gave you. Bet on the talents that you have developed. Bet on the stuff that you have sacrificed to become you. Bet on the experiences that have molded your mindset. Bet on the education that you've acquired. Bet on the relationships that are around you. And I promise you, the odds aren't against you, the odds are with you. Because the odd thing is, very few will ever do what you're willing to do. It takes something to become something. It takes trials, it takes hard work, it takes dedication. It takes avoiding all of the pitfalls that fear wants you to accept.
With myself, I have to hold the line. There are areas within myself where I cannot compromise. I am going to work hard. I am going to train hard. I am going to improve myself. I am not going to rest on my laurels. I'm going to own my mistakes and confront them. I am going to face my demons.
Use it as fuel. If you look at stories of great men, of great women in history, that story always has a lot of disadvantages that were overcome. There is something in the process of overcoming hardship that creates greatness. Most people quit through that process. If you can survive it, then your story will be a great one.
You've never looked at yourself in the mirror and said, you let you down. Until you get to that point, you let you down. You're not brave enough. You want to put it on somebody else. The reason why I'm not successful is because of my boss. That's the problem with some of you. You always want to blame other people. You want to hold other people to the fire, but you're not holding yourself to the fire. You just said you're giving 50%. You owe you an explanation. You owe you an explanation. You need to look at yourself in the mirror and say, why are you only giving 50%? What's wrong with you?
It's time to walk in a room and change the atmosphere of the room, because you're there. When you arrive, things change. When you walk in, your presence fills the room. The way that you think, the way that you are, the way that you grind, the way you get up and go at the gym, everything that you are is being developed so that you can change the world and let them see that there was a purpose for your lifestyle.
I'm not going to give up or give out or give in. I am going to stand. I am going to maintain my self-discipline. And on those points, there will be no compromise. Not now, not ever.
Any negative voice that ever entered into your space that said you couldn't was lying. The truth is they didn't want you to. I've been given a chance, and that's all you've ever needed. You've needed an opportunity, and you needed the wind beneath your sail that God gave you called breath. When God gave you the breath, he gave you his endorsement and said, I still have plans for you. I know the plans I have for you. You will prosper, you will do well, you will overcome, you will win, because you were never made to be a loser.
You say you want to be great, let your actions, let your words display that. If you say you love the cat that's next to you, let your actions and let your words display that. If you say you really want to be elite, let your actions and let your words display that. I want you to get the spirit. That's uncommon. Right? You can't be a common man and do uncommon things. That's uncommon. That's an uncommon mentality. That's an uncommon spirit. That's an uncommon disposition. Don't ask me if I'm all right. No, we not. We said we was gonna dominate these cats, and we ain't dominating. Every single day, do you dominate in what you do?
Look at this lion. He's the king of the jungle. Huge mane out there. The little lion comes, they start messing with him. Biting his tail, biting his ears. He doesn't do anything. Now, the other animals, they notice this, and they start to move in. They're barking at him, laughing at him. They do this, and they get closer and closer and bolder, till one day, that lion gets up and tears the shit out of everybody, runs like the wind, eats everything in his path. Because every once in a while, the lion has to show the jackals who he is.
Because it's a compliment when people say you're good. But if you settle for being good, you'll miss out on the whole boat called greatness. You see, greatness is a boat trip away because there's a great gulf between those who are good and those who are great. No one remembers those who were simply good. We remember those who were great.
Never quit. And if you feel like your life is in a place where you can't get any lower, and you don't think you can find any way out, because that means the ultimate challenge is ahead of you. It means you can only go up. And it also means that things are gonna be tough. Things are gonna be tougher than anything you can imagine. But that storm that you're in, from your perspective, it seems like that storm is enveloping the whole world. is not.
So one of the things, in order to make this your decade, in order to reach your goals, you've got to find some reasons that make you strong, some reasons that will make you hang in there when times get rough, because they're going to get rough. It's going to be very challenging. Whenever you decide that you want to grow, whenever you decide that you want to go to another level, all hell will break loose. Everything that will happen, the rather that can happen, will happen, and at the worst possible moment. They call it Murphy's Law.
Will become a beacon, a light, an example, a demonstration of what's possible, of what it looks like when hard work meets opportunity, and when opportunity met you, you became you. Now take a deep breath, gauge your day. Think about what's ahead of you and go after it with a new gusto, with new purpose, because you are here, and it's an obstacle, and you are designed to overcome them.
But the storm is not everything. And it won't last forever. You can get out of the storm, and you will get out of the storm. And when you get out, you're gonna see the sun again. But right now, you're being tried. You're being forged. You're being tested by fire and by pain. That's the test.
So you got to have some reasons that when life knocks you down, and it's going to. Hello, it's going to knock you down. When people disappoint you, and that's going to happen. When they betray you, and that's going to happen. When they lie to you, and that's going to happen. When they say, oh, you can count on me, and they won't show up, and that's going to happen. When you want to throw in the towel and give up yourself, and that's going to happen. When life collapses on you and catch you on the blind side, it drop you to your knees and start choking you. You got a dream? No, I ain't got no dream. And that's going to happen. What reason can you remember that you can call on, that you can reach on, that can make you get back up? Find that reason. Because when life had knocked me down, I said, life, I'm doing this because I want to make my mama proud of me. I'm doing this because I want my children to have a better life than what I have. I'm doing this because all my life I've been told I'd be a loser, that I wouldn't make it.
Don't fail the test. Don't give in. Don't quit.
All of our actions echo into eternity. Long after we're gone, our lives also have an echo.
If you really want to avoid all the criticism, and if you really want to avoid all the critics in your life, then do nothing, say nothing, and be nothing, and you'll never get their attention. But if you are something, and you're doing something, you become something, guess what? You get their attention. And that pisses them off, because they could never be what you are now. So the only thing they can do to make them feel good is try to bring you down. I say thank you for that. Thank you for acknowledging the fact that I'm doing something, because I don't know who the you are, but you seem to know who I am. They respond negatively because they've never done anything in their life. That's why they're a critic, never a player. Because they've never done anything, all they can do is cast votes and negativity to someone that has done it. Because they didn't work man enough to ever do it in the first place.
You finally made it to the big leagues, and now you want to chill? Now you got the big head, now you can't grind? You here now. You here now. You finally made it. And this is where you break up? This is where you start chilling? This is where you get comfortable? You made it now. You made it now. You in the big leagues now. They watching you now. This is where you make it permanent. Yeah, I saw it. Perfect. Nope, practice don't make perfect. Practice make permanence.
There are winners, there are losers, and there are people who have not discovered how to win.
One of the things limiting you from your income, your impact, a world-class life. You care too much about what people think about you. Now we're in the modern age and we are frightened. We are terrified. Our amygdala goes crazy. Cortisol, the fear hormone, starts to pulse through our system if we leave the crowd. Everyone has an opinion. Why let the opinions of other people deny you from a life that will make history?
Listen to me. Your life matters. What you do in your life matters. You were born to do something great with your life. You were put here for a reason, which is to make a difference in the world, which is to change your own family's tree, which is to do something great with your life. I promise you, you were put here for that, in little ways and in big ways. And there will be an echo for your life. The actions of your life will echo into eternity. The question is, will that echo for you be a whisper into eternity or a roar?
Every single person who has ever done anything worthwhile or exceptional or difficult or extraordinary, anyone, whether it's great artists or authors or mathematicians or whatever it is, everyone encounters difficulties. There is no easy road. It does not exist. It is impossible. Everyone has issues.
Stop crying. Stop begging. Put forth the effort. Because one thing I know about life, whatever you sow, you're going to reap. If you put 1,000,000 apple seeds in the ground, you're going to get 1,000,000 apple trees back.
I want you to see yourself doing what you want to do, experiencing what you want to experience, having what you want to have, doing what it is that gives your life some meaning and value. Operate out of your imagination, not your memory. Because whatever you look at where you want to go, I'm wanting to warn you, you will have some conversation back here after you go through the data that you've experienced in life saying you can't do it. And so what you want to begin to do is ignore that inner conversation.
Does not take talent. You don't have to be talented, right? You don't have to be gifted. You don't have to be the quickest, the strongest. You don't have to be the most intelligent. That's what you gotta do. You just gotta grind though. Your grind, you gotta outgrind.
And here's one way you never better yourself. When you come up with excuses for why other people are successful and you're not.
The key point, our heart set also is all the suppressed emotions that we pick up as we go through life. The shadow side. All of the suppressed emotions that we do not feel, like guilt, anger, shame, disappointment, frustration, that we pick up as we go through life. If those are not dealt with, they come back in ugly ways.
It's not about any of that. But what it is about is a lot of us give total control to life. We don't have any control of it. We just give all control to life. I do it every morning to prepare my mind for what life's gonna throw at me. A healthy body gives you a healthy mind. That's what it's about. So if you go into battle, you're gonna go into battle with the right mindset, the right gear. In combat, you wear body armor. But what we do wrong is we don't strengthen our minds. You gotta strengthen your mind, take control of that. So then when you get out in the real world, and they you up, you got protection.
Everybody want to be a beast until it's time to do what beasts do.
If you shrink, if you play small, if you don't take risks, if you don't take those actions, if you don't keep improving, you don't keep growing, then your life will just whisper into eternity, and you weren't put here to be a whisper. You were put here to be a roar into eternity. I know that for you.
When something happens to them, what they do is they begin to believe that that's the way it is.
Listen to me, you better grow up and get to the point as a man that if you ever get beat, you better get beat by somebody that's just purely more talented than you are. You better not ever get beat by somebody because you beat yourself.
Stay focused, don't listen to nobody, because what's destined for you, you gonna get it.
Trauma, tragedy, darkness. They leave marks that never fully fade. They change you in ways you never asked for, ways you never wanted. And when you're in the middle of it, when the weight of it presses down on you, it feels impossible to move, impossible to breathe, like the light you once had inside you has been snuffed out, and all that's left is this endless shadow. But let me tell you something. You're still here, and that means something. It means the darkness didn't win. It means you've already survived what you thought you couldn't. It means that no matter how broken, how hurt, how lost you feel, there is still something inside you. Something strong, something unyielding, something that refuses to give up. Trauma changes you, yes, but it doesn't have to define you. The truth is, life will break you. It will tear you apart in ways you can't predict, in ways you didn't prepare for. But the breaking, that's not the end. The breaking is where the rebuilding begins. The breaking is where you find out what you're made of, what you're capable of, what you can endure and still rise from. It's easy to feel like your trauma, your tragedy, your pain are the end of your story. Like you'll never be whole again. Like the person you were before is gone forever. And maybe they are. Maybe you'll never be the same. But who says that's a bad thing? Who says the person you're becoming, the person who's learning to rise from the ashes, who's rebuilding themselves piece by piece, isn't stronger, wiser, more resilient?
There's a Japanese art called kintsugi. When a piece of pottery breaks, it's not thrown away. It's repaired, carefully, lovingly, with gold. The cracks aren't hidden. They're highlighted, transformed into something beautiful. The piece becomes more valuable, not despite its brokenness, but because of it. That's you. Your scars, your pain, your history, they don't make you less. They make you more. But here's the thing. Healing isn't a straight line. It's not a neat process with clear steps and a perfect ending. It's messy. It's full of setbacks, of moments where it feels like you're moving backward, of days when the darkness feels like it's swallowing you whole. And that's okay. Because healing isn't about never feeling the pain again. It's about learning how to carry it, learning how to live alongside it without letting it consume you. You don't have to erase the darkness to find the light. The two can coexist. And in time, you'll realize that the darkness doesn't make the light any less real. If anything, it makes it shine brighter. But here's the hard part. Healing takes work. It takes courage. It takes showing up for yourself, even on the days when you don't want to. Even on the days when it feels pointless. Even on the days when you'd rather stay in the darkness because it's familiar, because it's easier than facing the light. Healing means taking small, deliberate steps toward yourself, toward the person you're becoming, toward the life you still deserve to live.
And you do deserve it. No matter what's happened to you, no matter what you've lost, no matter how broken you feel, you deserve joy. You deserve peace. You deserve to build a life that feels like your own. Even if it doesn't look like the life you had before. Especially if it doesn't. But let's be honest. The world isn't always kind to people who've been through trauma. It doesn't wait for you to catch up. It doesn't give you the time or space to heal. And that's why you have to be kind to yourself. You have to give yourself the grace, the patience, the compassion that the world won't. You have to remind yourself that healing isn't a race, that there's no timeline, no deadline, no finish line you have to reach. Healing isn't about becoming the person you were before. It's about becoming the person you're meant to be now. A person who has walked through the fire and come out the other side. A person who has faced the darkness and refused to let it win. A person who carries their scars not as reminders of what they've lost, but as proof of what they've survived. And here's the truth. The darkness doesn't go away overnight. There will be moments, maybe days, maybe weeks, maybe longer, when it still feels overwhelming, when the weight of it feels unbearable. But those moments don't mean you're failing. They don't mean you're broken. They mean you're human. And being human means you get to feel the pain and the joy, the loss and the love, the darkness and the light. You are not your trauma. You are not your tragedy. You are the person who's learning to live again, despite them. You are the person who's choosing to move forward, one step at a time, even when it feels impossible. You are the person who refuses to let the worst moments of your life define the rest of your life.
That is strength. That is resilience. That is power. So if you're in the darkness right now, if you're carrying the weight of trauma, of loss, of pain, I want you to know this. You are not alone. You are not broken beyond repair. And this moment, this is not the end of your story. This is the chapter where you begin again. This is the chapter where you start to rewrite your narrative, not as a victim, but as a survivor. Not as someone who's defined by their pain, but as someone who's shaped by it, strengthened by it, transformed by it. The darkness is real, yes, but so is the light. And as long as you're still here, as long as you're still breathing, as long as you're still willing to take one step forward, there is hope, there is healing, there is a future waiting for you, a future that's not defined by what you've been through, but by what you choose to do next. So rise, not all at once, not perfectly, but steadily, surely, powerfully. Rise. The light is waiting.
99% of people in the world are convinced that they're incapable of achieving great things, so they aim for the mediocre. The level of competition is thus fiercest for realistic goals, paradoxically making them the most time and energy consuming. If you are insecure, guess what? The rest of the world is too. Do not overestimate the competition and underestimate yourself. You are better than you think.
I've seen great dudes like you who have so much potential, and you can create so much change and solve so many problems for the world, literally sitting there suffering in silence because you fail to take action and you fail to execute on what you know you need to. Remember this, that average is the enemy, that success is your responsibility, and change can take place in an instant if you are willing to flip the switch.
You're not alone, man. You know, we're only alone when we find ourselves alone. We got to remember to get out there. Nobody's going to come and just help us be on alone. We have to do it. Nothing changes if nothing changes, you know? So if I want something to be different, I have to do something different.
Someone is dying to be your age. Someone is dreaming of living your worst day. Someone is wishing they had your apartment. Someone is hoping they had your health. Someone is working to get to where you are. Remember, yesterday you asked for what you have today.
The world belongs to optimists, because if you're going to do anything big, you have to believe that it can happen. Otherwise, it never will. Sean Puri says the cynics get to be right and the optimists get to be rich. 99% right and 100% wrong. They're right 99% of the time, but they're wrong 100% because the only thing that matters is the big one at the end. Your family and friends will say that every girl you ever date is not good enough, except for the one time you find a girl that you're actually going to marry, or that this business idea won't work, and you might have 9 failures. My first 9 businesses didn't really amount to anything. 9, as in the first one, I spent time on it, it failed. Second one, this one will be different, spent time on it, failed. And then the third one, this one, failed. And then 6 more after that. And it's painful as shit because the whole time everyone is telling you, I told you so. And they're right. Today, but not forever.
It's Christmas morning, and I know today for a lot of you is a big reminder of the people in your life. And I know for some, it's a reminder of who isn't. Wherever your mind goes, please recognize that today is a great opportunity to care for yourself, to give the gift of treating today like it matters is the best thing you could do for you. Because like any other day, it does. Do something hard to prove that even on a day like this, you can show up.
And I think that too many people do this. Why can't the world be more convenient for me? Well, the world is uncaring and doesn't care about you at all. And underpinning that statement is the entitlement, is the expectation that it somehow should. And I think that is a poverty lens. And so the wealthy accept the world for what it is and then choose to maximize and adapt. Everyone else tries to stomp their feet and throw tantrums and say how it's not fair. And they're right. And so what? There's a Haitian proverb that I think is relevant right now, which is, behind mountains are more mountains. Goals aren't finish lines, they're mile markers. And I think that's a great mental frame, which is that you think that your goal is to get to $10,000 a month, or $100,000 a month, or $1 million a month, or $10 million a month, whatever your goal is. And I can promise you, having hit those, you just move it again. The mist lifts when you get there and you realize there's another mountaintop. But where people lose their way is when they start listening to people at the bottom of the mountain who see them at the subhead and say, you weren't happy last time when you got to the last peak. Why are you gonna be happy the next time? But that's under their assumption in their poverty lens that you did it to get to the mountaintop. You did it for the climb, and they'll never understand that, and don't expect them to.
A man matures through early mornings, late nights, pain, losses, disrespect, disappointments, deep reflection, and moments of loneliness with just you. Age has very little to do with it, as you can meet a man who's 23 and a boy who's 35. Because always remember, it's the days that break a man which are the days that make a man.
Always believe and you will achieve whatever it is that you want. Never quit halfway through something. Continue to move forward and finish it. Not quit, because nothing comes easy. It's all about never quitting and never giving up. Not winning all the time, because winning isn't everything. Sometimes when you get defeated, it makes you stronger and make you want to come back and work harder for it. And you respect yourself more for this.
You need an alter ego. A version of you that's limitless. Make your weaknesses their strength. Make your insecurity their confidence. Give them a name. Give them traits. Create an amazing character. When you need them, let them take over. And eventually, you won't need to pretend. It will just be you.
Hey man, lately I've been in a funk. I feel like everything is slipping. I feel like I'm not where I should be. Like I'm not who I'm meant to be. I'm seeing all these other people getting ahead, and I'm here feeling like I'm running without ever really moving forwards. I'm on this continuous conveyor belt, stuck in no man's land, stuck in limbo. And I'm tired. This isn't where I was meant to be, or who I was supposed to be. And the deepest feeling that I have is, why? Why am I still here? But in all of that frustration, and in the friction of that pain, a deep, dark part of me speaks and says, is that the best you've got? Have you genuinely given it your all? Did you truly go all chips in? And to be honest, to be really honest with you, a quiet, shameful voice is whispering, no, I haven't. Our society celebrates conquerors and shames surrender, but what if I told you surrender can actually be a powerful, empowering thing? What if by surrendering we actually find acceptance? And in that acceptance we become the conquerors that we're seeking. Now, I'm not talking about giving up, let me be clear. I'm talking about the kind of surrender that is about surrendering to the process, surrendering to the work, the art of being studious. Vedic philosophy talks about this, that when a man sets aside his pride and he abandons his ego, only then can he truly begin with earnestness the journey of self-development and spiritual growth. In other words, when you reach your lowest point, we become opened to the greatest change. I'm not surprised that I am where I am, and you shouldn't be surprised you're getting the results you're getting, because what worked for you then, it's not going to work for you now. And amongst the darkness and demons of doubt, what we need to realize is that we are social machines built but also programmed to repeat patterns. And in the early days, these new patterns that we find or adopt, they bring us the excitement of new results. When you do something new, it gives you a new fix, a new result. But over time, these things decay. And it's your job to keep continually defining yourself, to abandon and then enlighten our old selves. The shedding of one shell into the next and the next and the next for lifetimes. The only constant in all of this is that things are impermanent. So don't hold on to what is. Life is like a river, and the waters that are still, that you're trying to hold on to, are the same waters that crash and swirl around you. So change. And if you want to win, if you want to succeed, if you want to go beyond this, the choice isn't to exit, it's to engage. You need to sit down and have an honest conversation with yourself about the kind of life you want to live, the kind of human being that you want to be, the sacrifice and investment that you are going to have to make in order to get there. And above all else, what are the things that you are going to personally get fulfillment from? So stay away from social media for a time if you need to. Focus on the goal, focus on the mission, focus on the vision. Don't chase things because you think it might mean that people rate you more. I want you to rate you more. I want you to do it for you and nobody else, because that's what real success is. That's a real like. Not the kind that you get from your feed, but the kind that you get from the beating of your own heart, your own drum. And remember, it's okay not to know or to have it all figured out. You don't need a grand map of your reality and your future. Your path, it's made by walking it. So take it one step at a time. Take it one moment at a time. Have micro goals. Sometimes in life you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, but you just gotta keep moving forward, and I promise you, you will come to a better place.
You don't have till you're necessarily 65, 75, 85, and none of us know when that moment's going to come. And I believe we don't necessarily have time. All we have to make an impact is this moment right now. Tomorrow is not some guarantee that we have. It's not a right that we have. It's a privilege.
Repatterning, it's a process of rewiring, it's a process of reconditioning, it's a process of self-reflection and awareness and changing those beliefs. When you begin to realize then, well, I can't respond to the same conditions in my life with the same emotions and the same thoughts, because if I believe that the way I feel and the way I think creates reality, if I'm reacting to the same thoughts and feelings equal to the conditions in my life in the same way, then I keep reaffirming the same life.
The attachment and the identification of this conditioned sense of self that we have learned to be based on our past, based on our experiences, based on our childhood. We identify with these thought forms and we identify with these belief systems, and then we hold tightly onto this sense of identification as a sense of me is who you are, who you really are. Sometimes when you find your purpose, the real challenges just begin.
You're alone. You're alone. You may have a shrink you're going to, you may have a best friend you're going to, but there's 24 hours in a day where you're alone in this brain. And your brain is talking to you in all kinds of ways, and it wants to control you and pull you in these different pockets. You got to tell your brain where you want to go and how you want to go and how you want to get there. You got to control it.
Life begins to throw these challenges and tests. Life's way of rewarding you is life believing in you. It knows, okay, you're on this path, so you must be ready. And so to me, the challenges and the hardships and the ups and the downs and the divorce and the breakups and the difficulties are just life's way of preparing your soul.
We're going to adapt and overcome now.